Hey Savvy people, it's Savvy Nick here, and let's explore the wonderful world of Linux and this week's latest updates. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Thank you for stopping in and stopping by for a new Linux news update. Welcome everyone. Alright, the first topic today, Manjaro receives a new release update this week with version 21 RC1. I got the Manjaro website pulled up in front of me just so we can check out a few things here. But before we take a look at Manjaro 21, make sure to take a moment and subscribe below so you can follow along with more of these weekly news updates on Linux and get access to other helpful Linux videos. Alright, so the stable update RC1 has been released. Not too much going on here. It's still an update nonetheless. The kernels got updated as expected. Thunderbird, a couple laps here. So we got new LibreOffice pushed, Firefox, updated Grub, Plasma. So they've basically updated their desktop environments to the latest versions. And nothing super special, at least that I could find. We have the latest supported kernels and the package changes that have been made as well. If we check out the forum, we can see what else they have been updating. This portion kind of gives you more information on the various different desktop environments available here and kind of tells you what they've done. They say they got some new exciting features. GNOME 3.38 is replacing their previous version here. So I believe in 3.38, that's where you kind of get the ability to move applications around in the applications section of GNOME. So they're a little behind on this one, but I guess that's a nice feature, at least for all the Manjaro users out there. And for those of you who don't know, Manjaro is a Arch Linux-based distribution. It's known pretty well in the gaming sphere, at least on Linux. So you can check this one out if you're interested and you don't want to install Arch Linux by yourself. Although I would say make sure to check out Arch Linux in the Arch Linux wiki and try installing it from there first before you really mess around with other distributions that are tailored around Arch Linux, because you're just not gonna get the same experience as Arch Linux. It's just super minimal. So they say here KDE Edition has been also upgraded. Of course, FCE has been updated. I don't know that there's anything crazy. It says Plasma System Monitor is a brand new app for monitoring system resources. I mean, that's good, but you can also monitor those things from command line as well, just as easily, if not more efficiently. XFCE edition, so they have 4.16 now. They say the window manager has received a lot of updates and improvements in the area of compositing and GLX. Supported fractional scaling. So if you're using XFCE and you need fractional scaling, I guess it makes a little sense to go ahead and upgrade your system. Otherwise, it's probably pretty much all the same. Well, that's mainly it here for Manjaro. And if you're just stopping in and stopping by, take a moment, smash that like button for me. We're going to continue on with Linux news here. We're talking GNOME 40 is coming out, and we could expect a release here as early as next week with Linux distributions then updating their images. Shortly after, probably as soon as 2 weeks, I guess, from the initial release. That's usually pretty typical of Linux distributions. So be on the lookout if you're using GNOME. I know that's a little controversial in itself. Some people love GNOME, some people really don't like it. But if we look at their, let's see, we are in February, March. So it says here, GNOME is expected on Wednesday, the 24th of March. The 40 new stable release is coming. So make sure to keep it on the calendar if you're using GNOME. There will be, I'm assuming there's going to be quite a few updates for us, so I'll check it out nonetheless. I'm always interested because I do use GNOME desktops on Ubuntu and Pop! OS. So just something to keep in mind. Hi everyone, how are you? Sandro, in your own words, no Arch-based distro is as good as Arch. Absolutely right, but that doesn't mean we're not going to cover it in Linux news. Welcome, welcome. Smash that like button, and hi there, Obrad. Nice to see you. Glad to have you. So, also, does anybody have some extra news for us? Put it in the chat. We'll read through. Maybe we can get around to it. I'm excited for a couple of these things. There's a few things I'm super excited about coming up here that we're going to be talking about. And I hope that everyone's getting a lot out of these Linux news live broadcasts that we're having. It's just some fun on the weekends, catching up with Linux and Linux news. Thanks everyone for stopping by. Now let's go on to the next topic here. So that is about Ubuntu. And this one's an exciting one for all you Ubuntu users. 2104 is just around the corner. And a big deal here is whether or not Ubuntu 21.04 is going to be powered by the 5.11 kernel. So there have been talks about that Ubuntu 21.04 will be powered by the 5.11 kernel in really recent announcements and news, but I'm looking here on their website. This is this course, so this is the community website, and they have a calendar shared here with us. And looking down, we have a kernel freeze on April 8th, so I don't know that anyone can say for certain that we're going to get 5.11. I still believe this is a little bit of speculation until April 8th rolls around. I might have said it 11th. I meant April 8th when the official kernel freeze happens for Ubuntu 21.04. However, it would make a lot of sense for Ubuntu to upgrade the kernel pre their release, since their release won't really be a long-term supported release, meaning it's not going to be supported for the 5 years. Those are reserved for even years in the Ubuntu world. So I guess it would kind of make sense. But we'll see. Hopefully they do get 5.11 out, because there are significant hardware updates to drivers, hardware drivers. So we'll see if they do or not. I mean, 5.11's been out enough for them to, let's see, this is Groovy Gorilla 20.10. Not what I meant to look for, but let's see if we can find anything else about Hippo here. Oh, let's see. So the April 22nd, 2021 is going to be the official release, as according to here. Feature freeze, final beta. I assume they're probably in final beta at this point. Yeah, I don't like Ubuntu's roundabout ways of getting you places, but we'll move on. If anyone has any mentions, questions, comments, post them in the chat right now. We're going to be moving on to more Linux news. Welcome everyone. Please smash that like button if you haven't already. There's quite a few of you on right now with us, enjoying the stream. Also, just a general update, I have created a second channel where I'll be posting gaming content, really open source gaming content, available to anyone and everyone who wants to join in over there. It's called Savvy Gaming. I will be well, promoting that a little bit over the channel. I wanted to get some things straight as far as being able to separate my content so it's easier for my viewer base to sift through, use. And I know a lot of you come in for the Linux content, so I'm going to keep it focused here on the Savvy Nick main channel and then move over some of the games to the other one. So the next big thing here, Sandro just gave me the finger, great. Have I used OpenSUSE? Yeah, I have, just not extensively, so I don't have much to say about it. It hasn't really been on my radar either. I mean, I'm not going to get something special out of it, so I just don't really bother checking out OpenSUSE too much. If we continue on, this is an important one. If you are using RHEL, there are kernel fixes. So there is a security advisory out. You want to heed the warning because Red Hat themselves have issued this security advisory to update your kernel, and it has been labeled as important. And we'll check out what important means here in the RHEL world. A lot of web servers do run RHEL or CentOS. Remember, CentOS is based off of RHEL, really the free version. So this particularly affects CentOS 7 and RHEL 7. And before we look too far into this, let's make sure you smash that like button. We do have a question. Will there be two Discords? No, it'll remain the same Discord. I'll probably just have channels available for the gaming versus the main channel. What is my opinion on RHEL? Well, sadly, CentOS is going, seems like going away from their initial, well, basically they're going to act like any other Linux distro. They're not going to keep their stable CentOS around anymore. Instead, they want to focus on what's it called, CentOS Stream, which I'm not a fan of. There's already too many Linux distributions out with the mindset of just constantly updating you and keeping on top as a rolling release. So the idea is to, I don't know, for them to focus on that. There has been backlash from the community because they want to keep CentOS around. A lot of web servers, a lot of servers, it's all free. It's and available. It's very, very stable. I mean, there's only been, 8 releases of CentOS, and they're going to stop support here in at the end of 2021 for CentOS 8, the latest, and then CentOS 7 in a couple of years, I believe. It's kind of sad because I did and I have used RHEL based Linux in order to run some of my own servers in the past, so it's going to be it's going to be a little upsetting. We'll continue on reading about this. So the kernel fixes contain fixing of buffer overflows, out of bounds, reads and writes, and some other network vulnerabilities. The list is right here if you want to check out exactly what has been fixed with the security fixes. But if you're running CentOS 7, RHEL 7 server or desktop, you'll want to make sure to take a moment and update that system so that you're patched from these vulnerabilities. There are other bugs and issues fixed as well. And then there are more details about the advisory if needed. So it says the affected products are right here. We have basically RHEL across the board, anything with a 7 in it. So that also means CentOS 7 since it's RHEL 7 based. We have the fixes labeled for us. And then let's see. The other thing I wanted to check out. So you might be asking, how important is it to heed this security advisory warning? Well, they do have a severity type. So this one's labeled important. We can take a look at what that actually means. They do have labeling here for that. So let's check that out real quick while I read the chat here in a moment. Your desktop is good. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you enjoyed the desktop, I do have a video on how to set up Arch Linux with this specific Xmonad setup. So make sure to check that video out if you haven't already. It's been out there getting quite a bit of views, actually. I think we're over 2 grand on that side of things. Very, very exciting that people love the setup so much. And shout out to Oxvara for actually supplying that setup to us. So let's see. And Sandro has a question real quick. How many distros would be justified in your opinion? Linux distros, that is. I'd have to think about that a little bit, but off the top of my head, maybe 2, 4, maybe like 8 distributions altogether. Maybe Arch, something Ubuntu based, Debian based for stability, Ubuntu really for beginners. If you want source control and you want to compile things, Gentoo. I said Arch, I think, so that's very minimal. You have a lot of control over your system. So those are all kind of different in their own space. I think I've labeled already 4 or 5 of them. But there's more out there I'm sure I'm missing. Those are some of the ones that pop up in my head right off the bat that I would definitely save because they tailor to a specific type of person, depending on what they're running, what kind of production environment they have or workflow that they have, or even just daily web browsing and just having some fun on a computer. So there are more, of course, but those are just some of the main ones I've used and I consider kind of the let's say the powerhouses. All right, so we'll continue on after that question. Thank you for that. Two more things. So we're going to look at what an important impact means. So this rating is given to flaws that can easily compromise the confidentiality, integrity, or availability, of the resources. So this means your computer's resources can be taken over, or it just won't run as well. So these are types of vulnerabilities that allow local or authenticated users to gain additional privileges, allow unauthenticated remote users to view resources that should be otherwise protected by the authentication or other controls, allowed authenticated remote users to execute arbitrary code, or allow remote users to cause denial of service attacks. So you definitely want to make an update if you have an important impact. Of course, if it has critical impact, it's even worse. And then moderate and low impact, those you might be able to get away with not making updates. But again, important impact. The last one we just read about is an important security advisory. So again, running CentOS 7 or RHEL 7. Check that out. All right. Hi there, MK. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. Can I install Arch using wireless connection and not wired? Yes, you can install a tool called IWD. It's probably the easiest networking tool to use as far as wireless goes, and I think it's also recommended on the Arch wiki as well when you're installing it. So IWD launches, well, it has some tools. I think the tool is called IWCTL, which is wireless control, and it allows you to create a connection wirelessly to your internet or to your router and then the internet, of course. So with that being said, doesn't seem like there's too many more questions. We'll continue on probably to one of the most exciting things of today, especially for users of Vivaldi browser. Let's check that one out. So Vivaldi fires up performance. That's right. They are making leaps and bounds in the Vivaldi web browser. Again, this is a Chromium-based web browser. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. So finally, for you Vivaldi browser users, there's been a new update to Vivaldi, which claims to have increased speeds up to 26% in comparison to the 3.6 version. That's pretty significant, honestly. So it says here, the latest Vivaldi addresses this concern, blah, blah, blah. It offers a faster version, which will help shave off seconds, even minutes of your day, potentially hours in a year. Now the new browser tabs open twice as fast. That's 100% improvement. And then even a new window now opens 26% faster than before. So if we just take a look, we can kind of go through here, and they kind of visualize this for us in a pie chart and a graph. So double up the power, tabs in Vivaldi will open twice as fast. So you can see here how fast it was before on the outer ring, or sorry, how slow it was here on the inner ring. So Vivaldi 3.6 and Vivaldi 3.7 now only takes, this much, let's say, time versus this much time before. So significant new tab opening, 100% better. It's pretty nice, at least for the Chromium-based browser users. I am in agreement with Sandro. I do prefer browsers that are very minimal. I mean, even browsers that you can just use directly in the console or a terminal. Sometimes more isn't always better, but when you're comparing various different Chromium-based browsers, it's nice to get some more speed out of that because it is so bloat. So I assume they took out some extra stuff that they didn't need. If we look here, so a new window opens up 26% faster than before. You can see the time it used to take in Vivaldi, this outer ring in Vivaldi 3.6, and then the inner ring, you can see you're getting about 26% opening up windows. So it's nice. Another pretty cool thing is that Vivaldi has arrived on M1. So if you've been using Vivaldi and for some reason you have a Mac and you have the M1 chip, well, now they support that as well. Not only is it available, it's faster than before, and just a few more things that have been customized. The Linux news this week has been somewhat stagnant, not anything super crazy to report on. Mainly that security advisory is probably the most important thing to check out if you haven't already and you're running some form of RHEL. Make sure to check that out because I know that RHEL 7 is fairly big. How do I phrase that? It's used commonly in servers nowadays, especially web-based servers. They have a quite significant amount of the market there, actually. It kind of surprised me as well, just looking through some of these changes. If anyone has any comments, questions, suggestions, post them in the chat. I do want to make a quick announcement that I have opened up a separate channel. I'll be posting about it fairly soon. We will also have another stream later today on that other channel, so you'll want to make sure to check that out. We'll be streaming Valorant. We'll be playing, having some fun post release party. I'm just going to show you real quick on Valorant.net. We had the release party, the 0.9 pre-alpha release there was some troubles with lagging and getting kicked out and stuff like that, but one of my favorite features here is the new airship you can see on the screen here with giant trees in the background. It was quite epic, I gotta say. We had a lot of fun. So I will be also posting that video up soon on the second channel. Party Sepe, yeah, we're ending here soon. Super glad everybody made it in to watch today. If you are supporting the channel, thank you so much for supporting it. Glad you can make it to this week's Linux news segment. I'll try to get back at the normal time next week. Looks like we don't have any more chat or questions. I assume no one will be excited. So when's the next stream? I will be probably, let's see, probably in about an hour to an hour and a half. I need to post some stuff yet, so it's going to take me a little bit to get things ready. All right. Well, believe, yes, on the other channel, that's correct. So if you haven't already, I'll make a post here in a little bit so other people can go to the next channel. Thank you, Party Sepe. Glad you can stop in and stop by. This is Savvy Nick signing in and signing out, and maybe signing in next week. Either way, make sure to subscribe below and make sure to like the video. Catch me in a great community on Discord, and I'll catch you in another video. Thanks for watching.